Hey everyone, I'm the Rev. Now last time I made a video on an Automobilista 2 update, it's fair to say that I upset 1 or 2,000 of the Automobilista 2 fans. Now, my honesty and integrity is very important to me when it comes to what I say, so I'll always voice my honest opinion no matter what and no matter who it upsets. So the last update to Automobilista 2 that I made a video on was the one way back when it was the Aston Martin pack that got released. I've still been playing AMS2 because, believe it or not, I like the sim. However, I've been reluctant to create content on it due to the backlash that you get if you say something that people don't like. I live in a house with me missus and 2 young adults, so trust me, I'm not short of aggravation. I certainly won't go looking for more on the internet. So with that rubbish out the way, let's get into the actual content. So Ryza released 2 packs this week. The first pack being the Historical Endurance Pack Part 1, which you got 12 cars for $8.99 I believe it was, which I think is fantastic value, really is, and especially when the cars are this good. Now you get a mix of cars from GT1, GT2 to some historical prototype cars. However, I'm not really a big fan of them, as in they're not very aesthetically pleasing to me, so I tend not to drive them. The GT1 cars, however, are absolutely brilliant, and this Maserati that I'm in here now, round into Lagos, I could not have been more impressed with this car. However, the DLC packs, they're only really a side story in my opinion for what else this update brings to the table. There's been numerous updates to the physics, to the tyres and to the AI. So I think that's where we'll start. We'll start with the AI. Now, the AI on Automobilista 2 I would have already described as some of the best single player racing that you can get. However, after these updates, there's been huge improvements. Are they perfect? No. This is not the Scarlett Johansson of AI. It's very good, but it's not Scarlett Johansson. If you treat the AI on Automobilista 2 like it's a human being, so for example, I won't dive bomb the AI the same as I wouldn't dive bomb someone on LMU or iRacing, things like that. If you treat them like they're human, give them room, give them respect, be tentative on the opening laps because they might not be as fast, then you'll have a really good experience with Automobilista 2. And after this update, I found the AI even better than before. Yes, they still did get stuck in little trains every now and again, however for the most part they were pretty racy even with one another. I could certainly see little improvements, and over time the AI has just got better and better. So Ryza Studios are really heading in the right direction when it comes to the AI on Automobilista 2. It's worth a side note by the way that some tracks are better than others, so your mileage may vary. But the tracks that I tried it on, Interlagos, Brands Hatch, Chilton Park, I felt it was really good. Thoroughly enjoyed racing against it. So that's the AI out of the way. Now, what about the little bit of changes to the physics and to the tyres? Well, personally, I think that this is where the biggest strides were made. Driving this Maserati round into Lagos, I had none of that floaty, doing quotation marks with my fingers, floaty feeling that AMS2 has had labelled at it by myself and by others. I didn't play with the car setup, I didn't change any force feedback settings or anything like that. It was the same profile that I always use in the SimuCube 2 Pro software, and I was using the Daniel Carr custom force feedback for Automobilista 2, the same that I always use. However, something has definitely changed. There is less of a feeling of pivoting on the centre of the car, and the actual front of the car now seems to give you more feeling, more information about what it's doing, and I just think it feels much more natural and much more in line with other sims. Every car that I drove from the new DLC felt absolutely brilliant, they really did. Don't get me wrong, some better than others. For example, the Corvette in front there, wasn't a big fan of the Corvette. However, this Maserati, the Dodge Viper, the little Porsche GT2 and the wannabe fake Ferrari, really enjoyed that as well. Absolutely fantastic car around Brands Hatch, really good, really enjoyable, and just a real feel of being planted, being connected to the road. Real improvements in my opinion in the handling on Automobilista 2. However, it wasn't only the DLC cars, so I thought that I'd go back and try some other cars as well, and specifically the GT3 cars. Now, the older cars that I tried, I felt like they had some huge improvements as well. The actual feeling of the sim, it just felt really different to me. I think they've made some big improvements. Now, the reason this video isn't edited as particularly well as I would usually like is because I got caught in a rabbit hole of actually driving and I simply ran out of time. So unfortunately, the driving time ate into the editing time, so that's why this video is a touch disjointed, so I do apologise for that. Now the GT3, I'm going to have to give them a video of their own, as I would really like to explain how it felt to drive the GT3 now round Oulton Park, I believe it was, you know me. I felt like the difference was night and day, so I'd really like to explain what I feel as I'm feeling it when I drive the car around the track, and unfortunately I wasn't able to do that in the time that I had available to me this time, so that'll have to wait for another video. However, there's definitely some huge improvements there, so do give them a try. Specifically the Porsche GT3, do give that a try. If you'd have told me that I was on a better looking iRacing, I'd have believed you, and that's the best compliment that I can give Automobilista 2, because I love the GT3 cars on iRacing. So there you go, there's my thoughts on the latest update for Automobilista 2. I felt the handling was transformed, really did, felt it was brilliant, and I felt that the DLC, that was absolutely well worth the money. The car pack, that is, didn't buy the tracks as I say, but the cars themselves, fantastic value and well worth the money. So that is my honest opinion on the latest Automobilista 2 update. I think it's absolutely brilliant, but trust me, if I didn't think that and I thought it was poor, I would happily have said so as well. This video was not made to appease anyone, it's just not how I roll and it's just not how I do things. I thought this update was fantastic, and if Rising Studios can keep heading in this direction, well, it can only get better. As always, I've been the Reverend, thank you very much for watching.